Hello and welcome to this radiotimes.com Doctor Who live chat with me, Hugh Fullerton.
And me, Paul Jones.
And today we're here to talk about the fact that, we've received probably the biggest news we'll receive about Doctor Who this week, though who knows? Who knows? Which is that Doctor Who finally has an air date for Jodie Whittaker's first series.
When is it, Hugh?
It is Sunday, October the 7th.
Just that date. There are so many things. Should we address them one at a time?
We should. One thing, it's on a bit later in the year, but it has been for a while. You know, I think Peter Capaldi's last series was in April. Before that, it had started in August. I think one started in September, but October, whew.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that though is, I think we worked out it runs until probably 9th of December. This is unofficial, but
yeah, so assuming there's no breaks, we know there's 10 episodes, and basically, the 10 episodes, assuming there's no breaks, will run until that day. And that's, only a couple of weeks before Christmas.
I quite like that. It's kind of like you don't lose the momentum going into Christmas and into the Christmas special, but you just got a couple of weeks break just to build up the excitement. Yeah, so I think that's pretty perfect.
I think it's good. And I think, there have been bigger gaps between the Christmas special and the main series. But I think, especially if they're trying to kind of, keep momentum going and they're trying to get people interested in this new Doctor, this new style, I think having a short break before Christmas could work really well.
Completely. But then there's another element to that date.
Another very important element. Doctor Who is moving. And we're not just talking through time and space, although I guess it is through time, isn't it?
It's through time, yeah.
Doctor Who's moving from Saturdays to Sundays. For the first time since the series came back in 2005. It's been on Saturdays that whole time, and now it's on Sundays.
And it's pretty much never been on Sundays, has it ever?
I don't think so. I
did have a quick look back, and I'm pretty sure...
In the classic series...
The only time that I think that it's been on Sundays, well, in recent years anyway, is the occasional Christmas special falling on a Sunday.
Because obviously the Christmas specials are on whenever Christmas Day is.
But Christmas Day is Christmas Day, right?
Yeah.
That's not...
in the classic series, it was originally Saturdays, then it kind of jumped around a bit, went back to Saturdays, and then by the end it was on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But since it came back, 13 whatever years ago, Saturday nights has been Doctor Who night. So what do you think about this change?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to... Here's a statement from Chris Chibnall, and I think I kind of get what he's going for here. So he says, get everyone's homework done, sort out your Monday clothes, then grab some special Sunday night popcorn and settle down with all the family for Sunday night adventures across space and time. Although I used to watch it as a kid on a Saturday, I do have a lot of that does resonate with me. The whole idea that, you're getting ready, it's exciting, and it's kind of like the last thing you do before bed, possibly, depending on the timing. It's sort of, he's trying to, as we've sort of thought all along, this is kind of going back to basics in a way, in the sense of trying to make it more family, trying to make it more accessible to children maybe, and kind of engendering that excitement. So I kind of like it. I still think, as a kid, and still now, to be honest, let's be honest, Sunday nights were, I don't know, you had the dread of Monday the night before. So this could either sort of spoil Doctor Who for me slightly if I was a kid, or it could at least make Sunday night something to look forward to. Yeah, and I think that maybe that's
a new generation of kids will associate, the chimes of the Doctor Who theme tune with back to school on Monday morning.
Yeah, you know what it'll be like though. It'll be kind of like a bittersweet, won't it? Because it'll be like the opening theme. Oh yes, brilliant! Like new Doctor Who.
Closing
and
theme.
When it finishes, it'll just be like, oh God, this is it.
You can definitely kind of see what they're going for as well, because obviously the TV landscape's changed a lot since 2005, and Sunday night has become a massive night for drama on the BBC and on ITV and all the other channels. And moving Doctor Who to Sunday does kind of make a statement in that this is one of our big dramas. Yeah,
it does. And the two things that sort of potentially counter that for me are, well, not necessarily, but do you think, if it's going to be more angled towards children, is that a drama in the same way that you have Line of Duty or you have Downton or whatever? They're sort of heavy hitting or kind of at least adult dramas versus what's going to be maybe more of a kids' family show. I don't know if I think of that as big drama sort of thing, even though it is dramatic. Maybe that's unfair.
Maybe they're trying to recast it in that way, but obviously, as you say, they've been quite keen this year to emphasise, this is a family show, we want the kids to watch it and all that stuff. It's a tricky one. It sort of feeds into one of the big things we don't know about this new air date, is we don't actually know what time it's going to be on Sunday the 7th of October, do we?
I am so intrigued about this. This is the one thing that I kind of really want to know, because I think it will tell you quite a lot about the thinking. So unless something radical happens to Sunday night, as far as I can see, there's only really two places it could go, because Songs of Praise, well, that's kind of your late afternoon thing.
Yeah.
That sort of tends to be there. But then Country File is massive and immovable, I would have thought. I would have said probably the same thing about the Strictly Results show.
Yeah.
So it kind of means you've got either the slot between Songs of Praise, you've got a kind of 5:30 slot, which would be back to the tea time slot, although it's a Sunday rather than a Saturday, that I remember as a kid. I remember getting into my pyjamas, maybe having some crumpets in front of the tea, in front of the TV, and kind of, having that excitement. But then, if it's not then it's going to be more like 8 o'clock, isn't it, when Strictly finishes?
Yeah, we sort of looked into this a little bit, and as a little bit of background, Strictly Come Dancing is on the same time as Doctor Who this year, and obviously one of the BBC's biggest shows, and Doctor Who's usually followed it, not last year, but in previous years when it's been on in autumn. It's followed it and had to move around the schedules a bit, because Strictly, for some reason, Strictly moves around sometimes, and sometimes it overruns because it's live on Saturdays. The Sunday night Strictly show is a results show, and it's pre-recorded, so it's a set amount of time, and it's usually roughly the same time.
Yeah.
So we've looked, and the Strictly results show usually finishes at 8 p.m. on a Sunday, and basically we think it could land after that, because there's not really anything that would go in that slot at the minute, or it could be before.
Yeah, I feel like it's either that 5:30ish or at 8 o'clock-ish. And like, I don't know, maybe I was quite, I'm remembering being quite young. Kids probably stay up later these days. I don't know what's a reasonable time. Like, when I read that statement from Chris Chibnall, it kind of sounds to me like
it's kids.
Kids, but are they allowed up till 9? Probably they are these days. Get to do what they want, can't they?
Well, without naming any names, there are a couple of parents in the office who we've chatted to, and one of them was saying that his son is 9 and he wouldn't be up late enough to watch it on a school night.
Right. Well, that's what I thought, you see.
So, whereas his 12-year-old would. So it's kind of like...
Well, that's going to cause some problems if
I know,
that's the case. That's
rivalry. So it's interesting. Equally, though, I was thinking about this. When we were trying to work this out, the big thing that I realised was that no one really knows what time Strictly Come Dancing results show is, because we had to go and check it, and everyone kept on giving different information. So it could be that the BBC could even move that back a bit or move it forward a bit. Like, that might not be set in stone.
I just remembered the other thing that would be the radical change, though, because the programme that's normally in at 8 o'clock is Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah.
And that has literally been going for 50 years, I believe.
I don't know if there's a series running at the minute, though.
Right, it's on most of the time, though. I think, we should check that out.
Yeah.
But, like, again, I think it will be going into that. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. I mean,
something's got to give.
Something's got to give. Basically, some beloved show is going to be moved.
Yeah.
Apart from Doctor Who,
which has already been moved.
Yeah.
But we won't know the full truth about this until close to the time. I mean, it's worth noting it's a 50-minute show. It's not an hour. It's 5.
That's true. Yeah.
Apart from the first episode is an hour, so they're going to have to slot that in a bit awkwardly with stuff anyway. So it's going to be interesting. But
if you want to get, I'm just thinking about the psychology of it and the sort of, if it is more kid-focused or family-focused, it seems to me that unless you are going to go early, like 5:30, which is still a possibility, you kind of want it around 7 rather than 8, don't you?
Yeah.
I would say.
I'd say
everyone can watch
kind of
that, then still be in bed in time for school the next day. But then
7 feels
things
right.
are going to have to shift a little bit. And I'm not sure how possible that is. There's dedicated fans of all those shows we've named. And they all do big business.
And also, if it's at 8, it will have to compete with the X Factor on ITV, which has a Sunday night show.
Maybe that's wouldn't be the first time the BBC have put something up against the X Factor with a possible clash in mind.
Yeah. Also, one final point on this, it's worth noting that Doctor Who has gone later than 8 p.m. in recent years. It's been as late as about 8:30, 8:25, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
A year or two ago. Although Peter Capaldi, who was the Doctor at the time, had said, that's too late, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So
Stephen Moffat said the same thing, I think. Yeah, that they never wanted it that late. And it just, to me, that really wouldn't fit with what Chris Chibnall's saying here. It feels like it's got to be earlier than that, because he's really set his stall out there with this is for the kids who are going to school the next day.
Yeah. And
this is the thing they're going to watch before they go to bed. And that's another thing to add, though. I did think of being putting myself in those kids' place. I kind of like what he's doing there with you go to bed having just watched an episode of Doctor Who, and then you've kind of, you may be slightly terrified, trying to get to sleep, or you're just going to have these great dreams kind of thing. So, the last thing you're thinking of when you go to sleep.
It might get the week off to a good start.
Yeah, and it's a good way of getting in kids' heads, isn't it? And sort of capturing their imagination sort of thing.
Definitely. So we will find out this at some point in the next few weeks. I think probably a couple of weeks before broadcast, they'll kind of actually have worked it out and worked out how it all fits. But one thing we do know about the first episode is we actually know what its title was.
Yes.
Which title is?
The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
Yeah, which is interesting because weirdly, this is a title that a few fans came up with in the run-up to the series. I think because it makes sense. The last thing we saw of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor in the Christmas special last year was her falling out of the TARDIS. You know, and The Man Who Fell to Earth it's a film, it's a book, it's a TV series, and it's quite a well-known expression, I think. Yeah. What did I say? 3 words? The Man Who Fell to Earth. 6 words.
6 words.
Sounds like. So, yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, the film, for people not to know, is about an alien who kind of lives on Earth and sort of makes his living and stuff. He's played by David Bowie.
He's kind of trapped there, I think.
Right.
If I remember correctly, which is quite interesting because I think we know that the first episode probably at least is going to be the Doctor on her own, possibly. She's fallen out of the TARDIS, so we don't know what's happened to the TARDIS. So she's kind of in that similar position. So I think it's a really good analogy, actually.
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of like how I can't think of an exact example, but like something like The Curse of Dr. Mysterio played around with was that what it's called?
The Return of Dr. Mysterio.
The Return of Dr. Mysterio played around with comic book stuff a little bit, and there was a comic book character called Dr. Mysterio. I think it will kind of touch on a similar sort of theme, possibly, to this, this book, this film, and then kind of go off in its own very special Doctor Who-y direction. But I like the title. I think it sounds cool. It sounds like quite a sort of bold start to the series.
Yeah, and it's kind of, you can't overstate the importance, even though it's been out there for a long time. You can't overstate the importance of the first female Doctor and what it's going to mean to kids, and especially young girls, and seeing that sort of role model on screen. And so I think it's fair to highlight the woman in your first title. I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, and I do love that some fans came up with it independently. I found some fan art and stuff.
I like to think maybe it's one we even knocked about when we were sort of, I mean, it's not, it makes sense. It is kind of like literally what happens.
It comes together, yeah. And all ideas are only as original as the person who actually comes up with them first, or gets them on screen first.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's pretty much everything we learned.
I think it is, but there's a few bits and pieces, and it's kind of definitely, there's enough stuff there, isn't there, to get you to reinvigorate your excitement kind of thing for Doctor Who.
I mean, the countdown kind of starts, because we've been in this limbo for so long about when it's on, and now we know it's, pretty much a month from when we're, at time of speaking to you. And yeah, the countdown's kind of started, and we're going to find out more and more in the next 4 weeks.
And I feel like, as well, I quite like the timing, because I think October is the first fully autumn month, isn't it? That's like proper autumn, and autumn, that's when the evenings start to get dark. Autumn turns into winter. It's Christmas, and as we've said, it's going to be not far from the end of the series to the Christmas special. And I just think it's something to look forward to for children and big kids alike.
Children of all ages.
Yes, exactly.
Well, we'll be hopefully chatting to you guys some more in these sort of live videos, in podcasts, and also in articles on RadioTimes.com, the home of TV and entertainment news, and specifically lots and lots of Doctor Who analysis. But yeah, until next time, I've been Hugh Fullerton.
I've been Paul Jones.
And thank you so much for watching.
Thanks a lot.